Yo, what's up everybody? I just beat Xesht, the big breach boss, 50 times in a row to test if this is worth doing in Path of Exile 2's new Abyssal League. And this is a fairly long thing to do because the boss fight does take quite a while. You have to do the big lead up through the breach before you get to the boss, and there are two sets of loot. You know, when you beat the breach initially, you get a big drop of loot, and when you beat the boss again, you get another big drop of loot. So there's a lot to go through. I've got like 3 or 4 full stash tabs to go through. So we're going to go over how much this cost, all the items we got, we're going to identify it all, value it all, and then exactly how much was made, and then I'll give you an idea of if it's worth doing. So overall, this was the cost of these are super cheap compared to the ritual boss. This is like between 1200 and 1400 splinters per divine orb. It works out to around 5 or 6 divines to do 50 runs. So it was very cheap to get into considering how many drops you get. So we'll quickly talk about how to fight the boss if you've never done this before. So as you clear a breach, which are these purple hands on the big map, as you clear a breach, at the end of it, it will drop a little pile of splinters depending on how many enemies you beat in the breach. Once you have a few of these, you come down to your home, you know, your main area at the start, and you click on the realm gate, and you will put these breach splinters into the realm gate like this. And these are the 3 bosses: 50 splinters, 100, and then 150. So you have to fight them in order, 1, 2, and then 3. And then once you beat the 150, you can then go and do that multiple times and farm it. Okay, so now let's go over the loot. And there's a lot to go over here. There's like, I think I've got 4 full tabs. So we've got all of the catalysts. If you've never done this, the catalysts are how we upgrade our rings. So rings are upgraded with these, so different stats give you different upgrades. So there's like one that upgrades all the lightning modifiers. So if you have lightning damage to attacks, you will need the lightning catalyst. And similarly, there's one that does the attributes, one that does health, mana, that kind of thing. Then we have all of the, you know, raw drops, you know, divines, exalteds, things like that. The jewels, the unique jewels. We have all of the breach rings. I think there's like nearly 200 breach rings, all of the uniques, and then the rares. So these bosses drop level 84-ish rares, which are very good and can roll the highest stats in the game. And I've gone through like hundreds and hundreds of these drops, and the best ones with the best stats, like tier 1 rolls, tier 2 rolls, I've kind of finished off, thrown an extra couple of exalteds on them, put some sockets on them, valorb them, that kind of thing, to try and find like the best items that we can potentially sell. And I'm going to go through everything, value it up, and then chuck it all on a spreadsheet, look how much we've made, and then, you know, see if this was worth it. So let's get into it first by going over the raw drops. And this already makes this so worth it because, I mean, look, we have 4 divines. We got a perfect exalted orb, which I think is worth like a divine. We've got a perfect chaos orb, which is the first one I've ever seen drop from this boss. I'm going to take all of this out. I'm going to put it on the exchange and try and turn it into raw divines. Okay, so first up, we got 22 valorbs, which comes to around 16. We've got the Chaos Orbs, and we have 12 of those, so we can get Chaos Orb, 49 Exalted. We have a perfect Chaos Orb, which is amazing, and this comes to 220, which is, wow, that's like over a divine. We have a perfect Exalted Orb, which is here, which is 380, which is wild. We've got 1 of those, 3, 7, let's do 7, 6. Okay, so already we're pretty much juiced. Okay, perfect regals, we have 4, so let's do those to exalteds. So that is another 60, yeah, so about 7. And then that's about it really. We got 1 orb of chance, which is pretty nice. Another 14. And then I think all of this is just kind of like change. I don't think you get much for any of this. 33. So that's pretty much all of our raw currency. Let's get that turned into divines. We'll just scoop all of this out. So let's say we want 3 divines. What does that leave us with? Okay, pretty good. We have 170 left. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. No, we don't. So that's all we're getting on the divines. Just on the raw drops like that, we're on 8 divines. So we can already say, you know, was this profitable? Yeah. I mean, we're already up. I mean, this is better than I expected. I think we did get quite lucky with, you know, perfect Chaos Orbs, perfect Exalted Orbs. Things like that are like a divine in themselves. 4 raw divines is pretty good. And I've only have like 15 or 20%, 14% rarity, which is not a lot. So I think that's pretty good going. I'll just dump them like this. That's just on pure drops. Okay, so if we go on to the planner, we can say for raw currency, we have like 8.9. We have nearly almost 9 divines in just raw drops. And I think that's because we had stuff like the perfect exalted, perfect chaos, and just raw divines, which is huge. That is definitely on the lucky side though. I don't know if that's going to be common. I think I was quite lucky. Now let's go through the catalysts. And on the catalysts, we have so much. I think some of these, like the lightning one and the attack one, are worth a lot. So we have all of this. We have a full, normal page full. And then we have a little bit of overflow coming into here because I filled it. So I'm going to just throw all of this on the exchange and trade in all of it I can for exalteds and divines and see what we've got. So, okay, so we go to Ange and we go to Breach. And like I say, the lightning is going to be good. The attack's going to be good. So let's start with the attack one, the Reaver's Catalysts. We have 120, 552 exalted orbs. Absolutely wild. We'll turn those straight into divines as well. We might have a third, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Yeah, we've got a third here. Okay, so that is 3 div just on those already, which is really, really surprising. Okay, so exalted orbs. Now we're going to go to the other really expensive one, which is the Xesht. Xesht is lightning, so we have 167. Everyone's playing a lightning build this season. So again, 557 exalteds. We might have to drop price a little bit here to get these in. Wipe that out. Go in again like that. Okay, there we go. 2. And we probably have a third, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah, we have a third here. So I mean, that's six divines already, which is, yeah, really nice. Okay, now I'm just going to run through all of the rest because the rest aren't worth as much. I mean, if I show you here, if I go for something like the, I don't know, I've got 122 of these Triulas, and you can see this just gets you 31. So I'm just going to throw all these in, and I'll show you what we have at the end of it. Okay, so that's all of them on. Now I've emptied out every single one here, as you can see, and what we have is all of this. So I'll just collect all this now. Obviously, there's a few bits left over, which just we don't need to really worry about. I'm just going to dump all these back in that just didn't trade. It's like the little bits of scraps and stuff. So if I just drop these in here, we've cleared out pretty much everything. And this leaves us with this. So we can probably get another exalted orb, another divine out of this. So we have like almost another divine, but we have loads left over here. So I'm just going to grab a few of these from before and we'll trade in another divine. So let's do that. Okay, so doing that, we are now on 8 divines. So we can say we got like, again, another 7 and a bit from the catalysts. All right, we'll throw that in the tracker as well. It was like 7, nearly 8. So like 7.8, 7.9, which should put us on 16.7 total, which looks about right. We've got 16 and just over 100. So yeah, that's about right-ish. So that's really good. Like 16 div with 5 cost. And we haven't gone through a single breach ring or a single actual crafted item or anything juicy, which is a lot better than I expected. So yeah, onto the drops. Okay, now let's go through the breach rings. And if I hide my camera, you'll see that this goes all the way down. So it's like 24 in a line. There's around 200 here and they are like tier 3, tier 5, tier 4. There could be some really good ones here. And basically, if you get a good breach ring, like this one here that I've got was like 4 divines. This one here was probably around the same. So if you get a good one, it's a lot of divines. It's going to take a while. I'm going to have to ID all of them. Okay, so I've gone through them all and most of them were rubbish. Most of them were just bad. 150 plus were just bad. A few of them were good and I tried to pull like a stat from one and a stat from the other, put them, recombine them together, and most of that failed. A couple hit. I tried to put a lot of them in the 3-to-1 and get them out there, but generally they were just bad. Overall, I saved 9. 9 were pretty good. Some are going to be like 20, 30 exalteds each, which should add up to a fair bit. And then a couple did land pretty well. Like this one, for example, is a triple attack. So that should do quite well. Not great rolls. I think it's like 1, 3, 5. But, you know, triple attack with 2 resistances will sell for, you know, a divine or 2, I think. So I would say on the high end, this is like 5 divs. On the low end, it would be around 3. But, you know, it's as good as what you could get. So I'm going to chuck on here 3 div just to keep it modest because I don't want to overvalue stuff. But yeah, that's the breach rings. That's just bad luck. You with 200 breach rings. I was expecting to hit a lot more, but either way, we're still wildly in profit here. But yeah, that's the rings. Okay, and after the uniques and the cool things, so we have these things here. I valued these. One is worth like 30 exalteds, which is pretty cool, but the rest are pretty much worthless. Let's go on the diamonds. I'm going to ID all the diamonds and we'll see what we get here. So I'll value all these up real quick and see what these are worth. So it looks like these have like a negative roll here that can roll between like minus 20 something to a positive. So if it's a positive, it'll probably be worth it. If it's a negative, probably not so much. And it looks like we have negatives for the most part. This one's not bad. Bad. The majority of these are terrible. So I'll quickly have a look what they're worth. Now it looks like they're roughly like 5 exalters each. So I'm just going to val up them all. I'm just going to val up every single one and see if we get anything better. 6.9, 16.5, 7.6, 14.7, 14.5, 18.7. So pretty much all worthless. So I'd say all of this plus this thing here is going to be around like, I don't know, 40 exalters, 50 exalters. I'm going to grab this as well, the reliquary key. Let's have a look. Hopefully we get a good unique here, but I'm not expecting much. Spiral wraps. So this is the Hands of Wisdom in action, I think. So that's not bad. It could be a lot worse. Okay, now onto the uniques, and this is all the uniques we got. I'll ID them all. I'll search most of them up. I'm expecting most of them are going to be worthless because most uniques in PoE 2 are worthless. And through every single one, rubbish. Every single one was rubbish. There's no value here at all. It does not drop good uniques. Back in like, you know, when this game first came out and in the first couple of patches, some of these items were really, really good. Like this was game breaking. It was such an amazing item and they just nerfed a lot of them. So this boss just doesn't seem to have many good uniques. Altogether, this was like 30 exalted. So is what it is. Doesn't seem to be like there's any value in the exalted, which is, you know, it's good to know, I guess. We can throw that on as, you know, I don't know, 0.2 of a divine. So now for the rares. Now the rares are where you can make a ridiculous amount of profit. The reason that so is because they drop at a high level, they drop at good quality, they drop at a good like tier of item, and how much you get here depends on how much work you put in. If you take every single item and you exalt it, you use a, you know, a jawbone on it or something to try and get more out of it, and you really try and craft on it, you can get some amazing items. And then overall, some of these were really good. I ended up with some, you know, some double sock helmets, gloves, some triple resist belts, some 35% movement speed with resists, things like that. And it took a while to, you know, put all the modifiers on them. But overall, this should be worth a fair bit. So I'm going to value it all, and I'll just skip to the end and let you know what it's all worth, because your setup is going to look totally different when you run your stuff, because it's pure RNG. Okay, so I valued it all up. Some of the stuff was worth as expected. Some was worth a lot more, and some was worth a lot less based on, you know, what was currently selling. I've priced it all up, and this is what it's saying. On average, we're looking at about 32 divines, but that is a complete guess. There's no saying that any of that will sell. Some of it could sell instantly. Some of it could still be there tomorrow, and I'll have to bring all the prices down. I would estimate we're probably going to be getting about 20 divines from this after lowering the prices over a few days and, you know, adjusting for things that sit there for a long time. And it probably did cost like, you know, 2 or 3 divines for all the materials to actually craft and finish those. Okay, so overall, was it worth it? Did we make some profit here? Let's get it up. So we have got here 50 runs. It was like 8 runs a divine, which gave us between 5 and 6 runs, 5 and 6 divines overall was the total cost for 50 runs. So didn't cost too much, fairly cheap, and that, you know, that led to, if we ignore the rares, it led to a 14.7 divine profit, which is huge. Just the raw drops like the exalteds, the divines, the perfect orbs, and then the catalysts was 16 div, which is huge. So I would say safely, if you are broke, if you only have a little bit and you want to get into bossing, just look at the catalysts. The catalysts are like almost guaranteed. The catalyst drops every single time. And, you know, there was profit just in the catalyst. So if you don't get any divines, you don't get any like perfect orbs, you don't get any really good uniques, just the catalysts alone seem to cover your costs. If you count in the rares, we're looking at a 47 divine profit, which that's probably an overestimate on the rares, which is why I've kind of excluded it. But overall, you can make a ton here. You can make a lot here, which is great. That's a really good thing. So is it worth running the breach boss in Abyssal League? No. I would say no. Even though it's very, very, very profitable, I would say it's not worth it. And that comes for one reason, and it's the time. The time this boss takes is just not fun. If you look at the ritual boss, you walk in, you beat him, you do the wisp thing, you beat him again, and it's in and out in like a minute or two. Very, very fast. The ritual boss feels very, very, very slow. You have to do that big thing where you climb the hill and you follow the breach. It's very slow. It's very tedious. And even with really good gear, a headhunter, some of the best gear, you can't make that go any faster. You're still just waiting for this. You get to the top, and then there's like a full inventory of loot. You have to take that back, store it, then you go beat the boss, and you get another full inventory of loot. And that loot isn't just like instant, like when you beat the ritual boss, he just drops an omen worth a divine or an omen worth like 16 divines, right? That doesn't happen here. It's all very small drops and you have to go and manage them. Then you've got to spend a lot of time IDing the breach rings, IDing all the different rares and then crafting on them. So overall, it just felt very tedious. I personally didn't enjoy this as much as the ritual boss. I would say if you can already clear tier 15 maps, stick with that. The time I spent just like messing around with items in the hideout, I would rather have just been pushing maps. You could easily just do that. I say this is very good for people who want low risk. It's only like 15 exalteds for one run, and you will make that back easily just on the catalysts. So yeah, if you're pushing the harder, the further end game, I don't think this is worth it at all, which is probably why the breach splinters are so undervalued on the exchange. But yeah, that's the video. If you like these, if you find these useful, do consider subscribing for more. I don't know what to do next. Maybe we do Trial of Sekima 50 times. That sounds pretty rough. But yeah, let me know. What do you want to see next? Also, what was your experience if you ran this and maybe you had like an amazing unique drop that was worth loads and maybe you lost here? Let me know. I'm really curious. But that's it for this video. Thank you for watching. Take care, and I'll catch you for the next one.